Your grandfather was in the 39th Recon, wasn't he? The question hit harder than the red pen slash that followed. Emilia stared at her essay, now bleeding corrections. Her title, My Grandfather Was a Hero, had been circled 3 times, in angry loops. In the margin, Professor Keene had written, Cite your sources. Heroism is a claim, not a fact. Her chest tightened. She looked up. Keene stood at the front of the seminar room, still passing back papers with surgical precision. His wire-frame glasses low on his nose. I didn't need a source, Emilia said, louder than she meant to. I have him. I live with him. A few heads turned. Someone stifled a laugh. Her cheeks burned. Keene arched an eyebrow. Then perhaps ask him about Operation Camp Hong. Emilia blinked. What? March 1971, Keene said, casually tapping his clipboard. Your grandfather's unit was stationed near Quang Ngai Province. Records from the Pentagon, declassified last month. I'm surprised you didn't come across them. Whispers bubbled across the room. Your assignment, Keene continued, moving to the board, was to reflect on moral legacy, not mythology. Mythology. The word cut deeper than anything he'd marked. That night, Emilia sat in her room, the essay crumpled on her desk. The printout from Keene's source lay beside it, pages of blurred type and redacted lines. But one name was clear. Lance CPL, Robert J. Turner, 39th Recon, field note, survived incident, internal report sealed. She stared at the words until they blurred. Her grandfather had never talked about anything called Camp Hong. He'd always said the war was ugly, but we did what we had to do. He told stories about bad rations, lost boots, monsoon patrols. Never about sealed reports. Never about moral stains. Emilia grabbed her phone, thumb hovering over the call button. Then she stood. The garage smelled like oil and old pine. Her grandfather was under the hood of the '67 Mustang, sleeves rolled up, sweat darkening his undershirt. That transmission still winning? She asked. He grunted. Battle's eternal. She smiled, but it faded fast. Grandpa, she said, do you remember something called Operation Camp Hong? He froze. The wrench clattered to the floor. He straightened, slower than usual, wiped his hands with a rag. Who told you that name? My professor, Emilia said. He found documents. Said you were there. Said it was bad. Her grandfather looked at the car. Not at her. That was a long time ago. So it's true. You were there. He nodded. Once. Emilia stepped closer. Then why didn't you ever talk about it? He hesitated. Then said softly, because no one ever asked. Silence thickened between them. They say your unit hurt civilians. He closed his eyes. There was a village, he said. A bad tip, a wrong move. We thought we were going into an ambush. We weren't. Her throat tightened. What happened? He opened his eyes, looked right at her. People died. Did you shoot anyone? He didn't answer. He didn't have to. Later that night, Emilia sat on the porch alone, the stars blurry through tears. Her phone buzzed. A new email. Subject, Camp Hong, witness testimony. From F. Rosenfeld, National Archive Review. Attached. One black and white photo. She opened it. In the image, her grandfather, young, helmet crooked, kneeling beside a thatched hut, smoke rising in the background, a child's hand in his. Caption, March 4th, 1971, Quang Ngai, documented by Intel unit prior to withdrawal. In the child's other hand, a broken doll. Emilia covered her mouth. She didn't know what hurt more, the smoke, or that he was holding the child's hand, but looking away. Did he ever tell you about Camp Hong? Her mother blinked over her coffee mug. No. Why? Emilia set down her phone. My professor brought it up. Said there were documents. Bad ones. A long silence followed, the kind that buzzed louder than any words. I never asked about the war. her mother finally said. I didn't want to know. Amelia stood. Well, I do. She returned to the garage that afternoon. Her grandfather was sanding a piece of wood, pretending she hadn't come in. Can we talk? Sanding stopped. We already did. Not really. He sighed. Go ahead. You said it was a bad tip, that it was a mistake. But were there orders? Did someone tell you to go in shooting? He looked up. There were always orders. And they were always vague. But did you follow them? He set the sander down. I followed the man next to me. That's how we stayed alive. She paced. So you just did what everyone else did? No, he said, voice low. I hesitated. She stopped. What do you mean? I saw a woman holding a boy, not a weapon, just standing there, and I didn't shoot. Silence. And the guy behind me did, he added. Amelia sat on the workbench. That picture I got. You were holding the child's hand. He nodded. He was alive. Barely. You saved him? He looked down. No. He died 10 minutes. Later, she blinked fast. You tried, though. He didn't answer. That evening, Amelia drove to the university library, pulled every file she could find on the 39th Recon. Most were generic. Deployment logs. Supply lists, but in one report, scribbled in margin notes. Lieutenant Connors refused evac for Turner, said, let the coward stay. Coward. She sat with the word. Let it settle. He hadn't told her that part. He'd been left behind. At home, she confronted him. You stayed? He nodded slowly. Someone had to bury the bodies. Her throat closed. And did you? He looked at her, eyes red. No, he whispered. I ran. The next morning, Amelia woke to find a manila envelope slipped under her bedroom door. Her name was scrawled on the front in shaky pen. She opened it slowly. Inside, 4 photos, all black and white, all of her grandfather. 1, standing in a rice paddy, M16 slung over his shoulder, mud to his knees. 2, a group shot, 5 soldiers smiling, beer bottles raised, date on back, Jan 1971. 3, a body, face blurred, villager, soldier, no name. 4, the same hut from the intel photo. Only this time it burned, and a note, 1 line. Tell the truth before someone else does. Her hands trembled. She ran downstairs. Her grandfather was at the kitchen table staring into his coffee. She slammed the photos down. Who gave me these? He looked at them. Then at her. I did. Why now? Because you're chasing shadows, he said. And you'll either find ghosts or monsters. She sat. So which were you? He didn't speak. Tell me everything, she said. He nodded. But you have to understand, we were 19, scared. Half of us were high. The other half prayed they would die before morning. He took a long breath. Camp Hong wasn't a battle. It was a sweep. We thought we were flushing out NVA. But it was mostly civilians. Families hiding from both sides. Amelia whispered. And you? I tried to stop it. That's why Connors called me a coward. I froze. I yelled. But it didn't matter. They were already firing. She clenched her fists. So you just watched? I carried the wounded. I tried to stop, bleeding with my bare hands. I threatened our own men. Silence stretched. And then I left, he said. I crawled into the trees, hid until night. I couldn't take it. She stood. You deserted? I survived, he said. There's a difference. But you? Never told anyone? I wrote it down, he said. Letters to the families. But I never mailed them. Where are they? He looked toward the basement. Box marked scrap. That night, Amelia descended into the musty dark. She found the box. Inside, dozens of letters. Yellowed. Sealed. She opened one. "Dear Mr. Din, I don't know your daughter's name." She was wearing a red scarf. She read until dawn. By morning, she understood. Her grandfather hadn't buried the truth. He'd been living with it every single day. It started with a tweet. A student from Amelia's ethics seminar snapped a picture of her graded essay, the red-inked phrase circled and captioned with, "When your prof nukes your hero narrative with a war crime receipt." Within hours, it was trending on campus. Then local, then national. Amelia didn't sleep that night. The next morning, she found 2 reporters on the lawn, one from the student paper and one from an outlet she'd only seen in YouTube documentaries. "Is your grandfather Robert Turner?" "Do you have a comment on the Camp Hong allegations?" Amelia's voice cracked. "He's not a criminal," one journalist scribbled furiously. "Is it true he never faced tribunal?" She didn't answer. Just walked inside. The living room was silent. Her grandfather sat with the TV off, hands clasped tight. "They're here because of me," she said. "No," he said. "They're here because the past never forgets. Can we make a statement? Set it straight?" He shook his head. "Truth doesn't work like that," she paced. "They'll dig into everything. Your medals, your letters. That photo, let them." Amelia froze. "What?" "I'm tired of hiding." That night, she went live on her school's debate stream. The chat lit up with fire emojis, accusations, defenses. She didn't flinch. "My name is Amelia Turner. My grandfather was in the 39th Recon. Yes, Camp Hong happened, but it's not what you think." She spoke for 9 minutes, carefully, painfully. Her voice cracked once. When she ended, the chat slowed. People listened. Then came the messages, from veterans, from grandchildren, from the village. One name kept appearing, Min. The next day, she found a letter in the mailbox. Postmarked, Da Nang, Vietnam. Inside, a handwritten note in elegant script. "My name is Min. I was 6 when your grandfather found me. I remember his face. He didn't look away. He wept. He carried me away from the fire. I lived because of him." Amelia stared. She ran into the house, waving the letter. Her grandfather took it, read it, sat down, wept into his hands. Later that week, Keene invited Amelia to address the seminar again. She read from one of the letters, the one about the red scarf. She paused. Halfway through, looked at the room. History isn't just facts. It's weight. And if we don't carry it carefully, it crushes us. No one laughed this time. When she finished, Keene stood, gave a slow nod. "I was wrong," he said. "Heroism isn't a claim. It's a burden." At home, Amelia placed the Min letter into the old box of unsent confessions. She sealed it, marked it. Truth, finally delivered, and for the first time in weeks, she slept. The news truck showed up just after dawn. Amelia woke to the sound of tires crunching gravel and voices outside her window. She peered through the blinds. A crowd had gathered, cameras, microphones, phones held high. Someone had printed a blown-up version of the Camp Hong photo and taped it to their van. The child's broken doll stared up at her from across the lawn. She turned and found her grandfather already dressed. He'd polished his boots. The old uniform didn't quite fit, but he wore it anyway. "You don't have to talk to them," she said. "I know," he said. "But I'm going to." The makeshift press conference took place on the porch. He stood straight, not defiant, just steady. "My name is Robert Turner," he began. "I served in the 39th Reconnaissance during the Vietnam War. Yes, I was present at Camp Hong. Yes, I saw things I've spent 50 years trying to forget." He paused. "And I failed. A murmur rippled through the reporters. I failed to stop what happened. I failed to report it properly. I failed the dead, and I failed the living. A hand shot up. Are you admitting guilt? I'm admitting truth, he said, whatever name you put on that. That evening, Amelia scrolled through news sites. They were exploding. Veteran breaks silence on wartime atrocities. From Hero to Haunted, Robert Turner's Reckoning. She clicked. One link, video footage. Her grandfather speaking. Raw, honest. And then, a comment, posted by someone called Sparrow71. He's lying. He wasn't a bystander. He gave the signal. She clicked the profile. It was bare. One image. A military badge. Faded, worn, then a message popped up. You don't know what your hero did. I do. I was there. Amelia's hands trembled. She called her grandfather. He picked up on the second ring. Someone messaged me, she said. They said you gave the signal. Silence. Is it true? Another pause. Then, not like they mean it. Then how? I was told we were walking into an ambush. I flinched, lifted my rifle. They thought it was the go-ahead. But you didn't say anything? No. But I didn't stop it either. The next morning, a subpoena arrived. The Department of Defense. They were reopening the Camp Hong inquiry. Amelia stared at the letter. You could be prosecuted. I could have been 50 years ago, he said. But I ran. Not this time. Inside the hearing room, everything was gray. Walls, suits, faces. Her grandfather stood before a panel of younger men and women, some barely older than Amelia. Tell us what happened, one said. He did. Word for word, voice low, steady. He mentioned names, places, bodies. When he finished, the room was silent. A woman at the far end asked, "Why now?" He looked at Amelia. Because the truth outlives the people who try to bury it. Outside, reporters swarmed. A journalist called out, "Do you feel like a hero today?" He paused. "No. I feel like a man who stopped lying." That night, Amelia found a note on her pillow. It was one of the unsent letters. Addressed to her. I didn't want you to carry this, but you did. And you never dropped it. That's real courage, she cried softly. Then, for the first time, she opened the box of letters to the world, posted them online, tagged every journalist, every historian, every veteran archive. She added one line. This is what memory looks like. Do what you must. Then she shut the lid and stood taller than she ever had before. The email arrived at 2:17 a.m. Subject: You want truth? No text, just a file. Amelia clicked it. A scanned, faded document filled her screen. Typed, unsigned. Military stationery. Operation Redcrest. Addendum. Primary recon team reported live fire upon non-combatant sector. Command authorization. Was presumed from Sergeant R. Turner. Civilian casualties estimated 28. Internal Counsel recommends suppression pending review. She sat in silence. Breath shallow. They had documented it. Buried it. And now, someone had unearthed it. She printed the page. Drove to her grandfather's house in the dark. He was already awake. Lights on. Sitting at the kitchen table in his robe. A single cup of coffee steaming. I saw it, he said before she even sat. Someone's leaking everything. Why now? She whispered. Because it ends with me, he said. And someone out there doesn't want it ending peacefully. She placed the printout in front of him. His hand trembled. They think you gave the order. I didn't, he said, but I didn't deny it either. Why not? Because I was scared. She leaned in. Of what? His eyes glistened. Of being the man they already believed I was. 2 days later, he disappeared. Left his phone, wallet, medals, everything. Just a single envelope on his nightstand. I won't let you clean up after me anymore. It's my turn. The town exploded with speculation. Headlines, helicopters, search teams. Amelia stopped sleeping. Then, a message. Same sender. Sparrow 71. Meet me where the road ends, where the jungle used to be. Coordinates attached. Near. An abandoned airfield outside town. A place where old military buildings crumbled like ghosts. She drove alone. At dusk. Heart hammering. The sky was bruised purple. The air was thick. She parked. Walked into the overgrown path. Then, movement. A man stepped from the shadows. Late 60s, scar across his jaw. Gray crew cut. You, Amelia? She nodded. I'm Cooper, he said. I was in Turner's unit, Camp Hong, and I'm the reason. Your life's burning down. She froze. Why? Because I kept quiet for 50 years, he said. And now I can't anymore. He handed her a flash drive. Everything's on here. Videos, orders, confessions. Turner wasn't the only one, but he's the only one who cared. She stared at the drive. Is he alive? Cooper exhaled. He came to me 2 nights ago, said he wanted to disappear, said the only way to stop the cycle was to remove himself from it. Amelia felt her knees weaken. Where is he? I don't know, but he gave me this, a photo, black and white. Her grandfather, 1971, holding a little boy. On the back, a single line. I couldn't save him, but maybe I can save her. That night, Amelia uploaded the drive's contents to the archive. Documents, audio, photos, even a tape labeled Last Words. She clicked play, her grandfather's voice. If you're hearing this, I'm gone. Not dead, just gone. I've done enough damage staying visible. Pause. I wasn't a hero. I was a scared kid with a gun. But I tried. I swear to God, I tried. Long breath. I left because if I stayed, you'd spend your life cleaning up my ashes. That's not love. That's penance, she cried, quietly, alone. Weeks passed. The hearings ended. No charges filed. Just a recommendation. Preserve. Acknowledge. Educate. Amelia started a foundation, Echoes of Silence, dedicated to documenting veteran testimonies, declassified files, and survivor voices. She spoke at universities, panels, Congress. But every night she watched the same video, the one from Min. Your grandfather saved me. He carried me. He didn't look away. And one morning, a postcard arrived from Laos, a mountain village. Picture of an old man teaching children how to read. His back turned, but unmistakable. Robert Turner. She smiled. He hadn't disappeared. He'd just changed his battlefield.